Hi, this is Josh with KC Beer Club. I just wanted to make a quick video on a way to save your beer labels. I noticed that some people have a massive bottle collection on their walls, which I had at one point, and it got out of control, so I looked online, tried to figure out another way to collect the labels for the beers I was drinking, because I thought a lot of them were cool and it would just be a waste to throw them in the trash. So I looked online for some ideas, and I noticed that somebody had mentioned that they had a scrapbook they were putting them in, so I went ahead and started one a few years back of my own. Basically, I'm going to show you guys how it's done. Okay, after you've drank your beer, just rinse the bottle out real quick and pat it dry, and then throw them in the side cabinet or whatever somewhere, and save them for when it's time to remove the labels. Okay, the first thing you want to do is, of course, go ahead and stop up your sink and start running a little warm water in there. A little on the hot side, I guess, whatever your hands can stand. And after it starts filling up, you want to add some of this OxiClean detergent. Just get about a half a scoop of the OxiClean and dump it in the water. Swish it around a little bit. Add a little bit more water. Basically want to get it about a third of the way full. And then you're going to go ahead and put some water in the beer bottles to keep them under the water all the way. So you can just fill those bottles in the same sink as it's going, and when it starts getting full, you can work on the other side of the sink or on the counter or whatever you need to do. Let that fill up. Under the water, lay it on its side. That's why we fill it, so once the net goes under the water, the bottle will be weighed in so that air doesn't get inside and make it float to the top of the water. And just keep filling them up. Okay, and you'll just pile them in the sink until the sink gets near the top and the bottle labels are all submerged in there. What you want to do at this point is give it about 10 minutes and come back, and that's when the labels will be ready to come off. Alright, and then what you want to do is get some wax paper and lay some strips down so that you can put the beer labels on them so they can dry. You just lay that on your countertop, and then you'll be sticking the labels on there so they can dry. Otherwise, they can stick to the countertops when they start drying, and they will stay there for a while. It's pretty hard to remove some of the labels from the countertops with some of the adhesives they use. Right here we've got a type of label that you just want to peel at each little corner. See, that one's coming off pretty easy. But that right there, if you keep tearing, will actually shred the label, start coming through and ruin it. So you got to be careful on those. Try to find another corner and work on it. This one looks like it might be a little bit of a tough bottle to get because when you start peeling it back, the top layer is really thin and the glue is really thick and heavy. So there's another technique. Just go slow, keep peeling it. You can see it's getting a little thinner on one side, but some labels will just go for a little while, so we might have enough to get this whole label off. Got it. So that's one of those ones you don't know. It's kind of hit and miss if you're going to get it or not. Another kind of unique label. And you'll notice probably about a third of them are those sticker type labels. So here we've got another one. So when you start peeling it back, you don't want to get give it too much stress on a corner. So start working your way down to the other corner, get it started, and then pull a good chunk of it off, get it about even, and then get a good grip on it and just turn the bottle with the other hand and it comes right off. Those are like the sticker types. These are the second best ones that you can get off the bottle, the first being the ones that just fall off. Alright, and then you've got the labels that are going to be a little trickier that you're going to have to use a utility blade for. So what you want to do is just kind of wedge it underneath there and get a little bit of it lifted. Work your way down to the bottom. As you can see there, it's kind of splitting off a little bit. Don't worry about that. You might not get the whole label the first try, but just work as much as you can. And remember, if you're going to put it into a scrapbook anyway, even if you have a little rip in it or whatever, it's going to go right back into place on the paper. So just kind of keep peeling at it, keep working on it. Another technique is if you start messing up on one side, it starts getting kind of bad, jump over to the other side and start it. Try to meet halfway or maybe 2/3 of the way over. Once you get a sticker label going pretty good, it tends to stay together pretty good, but the top and the bottom can sometimes split off and start running a different track, so you have to kind of catch up with it at one point. But this one looks like it's coming off pretty good. This is a wet one here that's really thin, and as you can see, it's not ruined, but just kind of work slowly on it, peel a couple parts back here and there. And again, if you start seeing a tear, maybe 2/3 of the way through, then flip it over and start on that corner and let it meet somewhere in the middle. See, that's all that's left right now. So if I were to start getting a tear, I would just have to get through another inch, inch and a half. It's like you can even watch it from the front when it's near the very end of coming off and see that you're gonna get it all off there. It's a really thin label. Sometimes they're hard to get, but just take your time on these. Alright, here's another example of a label that I'm going to lose. As you can see, this one's just a bad band of stickers that are kind of like in different degrees. Alright, so when the time comes to dump in another batch, your water's probably going to be about the halfway level. And what you want to do is just add a little bit more of this. Swish it around. And when you start adding some more water, it'll start foaming up a little bit, but even if you don't add very much, your labels are still going to come off with a lot of help from that. Alright, so about the time that you get done with the first batch, the second batch will be ready to take out and start peeling labels off of. Alright, so eventually you start getting to labels that actually bleed, and I had a feeling this would happen. This can happen a couple different ways. From leaving it in the water too long, it actually, look, it's just running. I don't know what they use in their labels. Some of the Avery labels I noticed do that too. So I do know to take these out of the water earlier on some of them. If you look at them, they start changing colors, and it's rare, but it happens. Alright, so now I'm all done, and here are all the empty bottles. So quite a few of them. So if you don't recycle, please definitely do so. Craft brewery companies can use those bottles over again when they get melted down. So definitely recycle if you're not already. Okay, and here's all the finished labels. Well, all the ones that came off. Again, I only lost a couple of them, so that's not bad. Some of them look really crappy right now. It's just the way they dry out and stuff. Cover these up for the night because I'm going to be going to bed soon, and my cat likes to eat paper, so if I don't cover these, she'll be chomping on them and they'll all have holes in them in the morning. So one thing you can do is just stack one wax on top of the other and then put another wax, a third wax on top of that. Okay, so now that the labels have all dried, you might want to trim off things like the government warning and stuff. You don't really need that, and plus it makes the label smaller to actually go into the book. So that's what I'll be doing next, is trimming down those labels. Alright, now we've got all our unmolested labels here with all the government crap on there and where to recycle. What I do is keep a piece of wax paper and throw all the waste on there. Then you can just simply wad it all up in one little pile and get rid of it. But anyway, we've got the finished labels here. They do look a lot nicer. One thing to be aware of, some of them are still sticky, so watch what you put them on. I just kind of barely put them down because they will stick still to counters and they'll still get ruined at this point. The best thing to do was when you put them in the book is to put the stickers in first, because they'll go in nice and quick, and then the other ones will get glued in. Here is the label that I decided to go ahead and keep. There's not much to it, it's kind of ugly, but I can kind of put that together a little bit nicer. And the next step is going to be to put them in the book. Use the best space you can, so of course you want to put like a rectangle sticker here, another one similar to that up here, and so on and so forth. You've got the giant stickers, so you might only get a few on a page, this being one of them. This is a big one. Okay, basically when you go to put these in the book, again, I start with the stickers and get those all knocked out. And then you've got the, this is a sticker here, and then you've got the ones with the paperback that need to be glued in. What I like to get is this Elmer's glue stick. That's the purple disappearing, so that you can see the lines where you're putting it down at. And I'll go ahead and just check it out, line it up, make sure it's, you know, all even. So basically, that's it. I was able to fill up a page with 6 labels, and there's not much room in between, so that filled up really nice. Okay, so I'm all done adding them in there. Altogether, probably takes about an hour, about a half an hour to do the bottles, and I don't know, 10 minutes to cut the labels down, if that, 5 minutes maybe, and 20-25 minutes to throw the stickers in, and we're talking about an hour or so every other month, I'd say, is when I do labels. So, but it's worth it. I mean, you forget some of the beers you've had, and there is some really good artwork out there. I just wanted to go over one of my coolest labels that I have real quick. This one is from Pisgah, and they're from North Carolina. This one is made with coffee beans from Asheville area. It's Valdez. But anyway, when I got this label, I thought it's pretty faded looking, but I accidentally got the label wet, and check this out. This is a trip. There's a little water. Haha. Is that not wild how it just comes to life? And it is a very cool artistic label. I thought I would share that one. I've never seen a label that actually does anything in the water. It's kind of like the old Hyper Color shirts we had and stuff. But it's pretty cool. It'll just dry again, and it's kind of rubberish feeling, so I'm not really sure what material they used, but it's definitely the most unique label I have. It's very cool. Flying Dogs Road Dog Porter. I like the saying. Good beer. No. I've always liked the labels of is it Trois Pistoles and Maudit. They're pretty wild. I think Six Glass is a great label. And now on to the worst 3 labels. Did not like that Justin Blabber label. I know it's kind of a satire on everything, but it's just pretty hideous. And the next 2 that I don't like at all, Oberon, that sounds pretty stupid there. And Two Hearted Ale, I love fish and fishing, but I don't think it works very well with this label. I also don't care much for the Kalamazoo Stout either. I think Bell's is just all about, we make awesome beer, just drink it. We're still going to make stupid ass labels. And you're still going to drink our beer. Old Rasputin's always been a classic with the gold and black and the foil. I like this Rigor Mortis label a lot. I like this Atlas label by Marshall. I believe they're in Oklahoma. Here's another one by Marshall. It's really cool. El Cocoy. I really dig the new Flipside label a lot. I think it's awesome. This Raging Bitch label's crazy. I like the propaganda-ish look of this Nugget Nectar label. I like this Night Stalker label a lot. There's a lot of Three Floyds labels that are great. There's some that are really ugly. Here's some of the great ones. Gumball Head, that's a classic. And then they've got some really kind of awful labels too. It's weird, they've got like some of the best and some of the worst. This Terrapin label is cool. This is Wake and Bake Coffee Oatmeal Imperial Stout. Got to give it up for the Dogfather label. It's pretty cool. I also like the Lake Erie Monster label from Great Lakes. Why Can't I Be You by Stillwater. Another really cool label. This Blakehorn Unidragon is pretty awesome by Clown Shoes. Sea Monster by Ballast Point. And that one will lead us into my top 5 labels that I like. Number 5 being the Pisgah label that we were talking about. Number 4 would be Victory at Sea by Ballast Point. I really like that label a lot. Number 3 would be A Saison Darkly by Stillwater. It's a great label. Alright, and my 2 favorite labels are both by Three Floyds. We've got Razorhoof and Dark Lord.